Overthinking. We've all been there, right? That endless stream of thoughts that just keeps going, no matter how much we try to silence them. The constant chatter in your mind, the what-ifs, the worries about the future or regrets about the past. It's like a never-ending loop. And while we might try to push it all away, it keeps coming back, stronger each time. But what if I told you that this very mental chaos is preventing you from experiencing true peace? What if, instead of being overwhelmed by your thoughts, you could actually control them and find a sense of calm in the midst of it all? What if you could stop the cycle of overthinking and embrace a life where your mind is at peace, clear, and focused on what really matters? Well, here's the good news. The ancient Stoics, some of the most profound thinkers in history, already figured this out. Their timeless wisdom has helped countless individuals find tranquility in a world filled with distractions and mental clutter. And today, I'm going to share with you 6 powerful Stoic teachings that can help you stop overthinking, reclaim your peace, and live a life of clarity and purpose. These teachings aren't about shutting down your thoughts or forcing yourself to think less. They're about changing how you think, about breaking free from the cycle of worry and anxiety that holds you back. The Stoics believed that our thoughts and reactions shape our reality, and by mastering them, we can navigate life's challenges with strength and serenity. So, if you've ever found yourself trapped in a whirlwind of thoughts, struggling to find peace, stick around. In this video, we'll dive deep into 6 Stoic principles that will help you clear the mental fog and find inner peace. Let's get started on this journey toward a calmer, more focused mind. Teaching 1. Focus on what you can control. Overthinking often happens when we fixate on things that are completely outside of our control. We find ourselves worrying about the actions of others, what's happening in the world, or the uncertainty of the future. But here's the key insight from Stoic philosophy. You cannot control external events, but you can always control your responses to them. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic minds, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This simple but profound truth is the foundation for reclaiming control over your life and your thoughts. When you understand that you have the ability to choose how you react to situations, you free yourself from the chains of overthinking. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you lost sleep over something that was completely out of your hands? How often do you worry about other people's opinions or the outcome of things you have no influence over? The Stoics taught that this kind of mental energy is wasted. They encouraged us to focus solely on what we can control: our actions, our thoughts, our responses. This is where the power lies. The moment you recognize that your mind is the only thing within your control, you stop wasting energy on the endless loop of what-ifs. Overthinking comes from imagining all the potential scenarios, most of which never happen. When you focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your decisions, your actions, you stop letting the world spin out of control in your head. For example, when faced with a difficult situation, rather than focusing on the things that might go wrong or what others might think, ask yourself, what is within my control here? It could be how you respond emotionally, the way you handle the task at hand, or even the attitude you adopt toward the challenge. By taking responsibility for what's in your power, you stop overthinking and start taking purposeful action. This doesn't mean you ignore reality or deny challenges. It means you face life head-on with the understanding that the only true power you have is over your internal state. You can't control the weather, but you can choose how to dress for it. You can't control how others behave, but you can control your reaction to their actions. By consistently focusing on what you can control, you create a sense of clarity and calm that banishes the noise of overthinking. Over time, this practice becomes easier. Every time you catch yourself spiraling into worry about something outside of your control, remind yourself of this fundamental Stoic teaching. Shift your focus back to what you can actually influence. What thoughts can you adjust? What actions can you take that will move you forward? In a world that often feels unpredictable and overwhelming, this Stoic mindset gives you the stability to navigate any storm. It's not about ignoring external chaos, but about creating internal peace. When your focus is on what you control, you stop being a passive bystander in your own life. Instead, you become the active creator of your own peace and power. The more you practice this principle, the more you'll notice a shift in your mindset. Overthinking becomes less of a habit and more of an occasional thought you can easily set aside. You become the master of your own mind, and that, my friend, is the first step in breaking free from the cycle of overthinking. This lesson is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy because it directly impacts how we experience the world. By focusing on what's within our control, we regain ownership of our mental and emotional states, leading us toward a life of inner peace and clarity. Let this be the first step in your journey toward a more focused, calmer mind. Teaching 2. Practice negative visualization. At first glance, the idea of negative visualization may sound strange, even counterintuitive. Why would anyone want to focus on negative outcomes or imagine the worst-case scenario? After all, isn't it better to stay optimistic, to focus on the positives? The Stoics, however, believed that by confronting our fears head-on, we could reduce their power over us. Negative visualization is about preparing your mind for the worst, so that you can appreciate the present moment more deeply. It's a practice where you deliberately imagine the worst possible outcomes, not to dwell in negativity, but to break free from the anxiety that comes with fear of the unknown. By visualizing a scenario where everything goes wrong, you can face it mentally and emotionally, and in doing so, reduce the grip that fear has on your mind. Think about a situation where you're anxious about an upcoming event, a job interview, a big presentation, or even a personal conversation. The natural instinct is to focus on what could go wrong. But when you use negative visualization, you intentionally go even further. You imagine the absolute worst-case scenario. What if the interview doesn't go well? What if you make a mistake or forget everything you planned to say? Picture it vividly. What does it feel like? What would happen next? Now, here's the twist. By confronting that fear in your mind, you begin to see that it's not as catastrophic as your imagination makes it out to be. The worst thing you could imagine rarely happens, and if it does, you'll be better prepared to handle it. This mental exercise helps you reduce the fear of failure and frees you from the cycle of what-ifs that overthinking thrives on. Negative visualization isn't about being pessimistic. It's not about living in a constant state of dread, expecting the worst at every turn. It's about taking the power out of your fears. By recognizing that you can handle the worst possible outcome, you remove the emotional block that causes you to get stuck in your thoughts. When you prepare for the worst, you're more equipped to deal with whatever actually happens, and that brings a sense of relief. For example, let's say you're worried about losing a job. The natural tendency is to spiral into thoughts about all the negative consequences. But through negative visualization, you might imagine losing your job, facing the difficulties of unemployment, and eventually finding a new opportunity. You see yourself going through it, coping with the emotions, finding a new path, and emerging stronger. By mentally processing the worst, you rob it of its power to paralyze you. This practice also helps you cultivate gratitude. When you stop and think about what could go wrong and recognize that it's manageable, you start to appreciate the good things in your life even more. You may realize that your current situation, which you took for granted, is not as fragile as you thought. The job you worry about losing, the relationships you're afraid of damaging. When you face the worst, you often see how resilient you really are. And when you do this regularly, you'll find that your anxiety about the future diminishes and your peace of mind increases. Negative visualization also teaches you the art of detachment. By acknowledging the impermanence of things and accepting that loss is a part of life, you free yourself from the fear of losing them. Everything, good or bad, is temporary. This acceptance is the ultimate key to overcoming overthinking. You stop clinging so tightly to what might happen, and instead, you focus on what is happening right now. The beauty of this practice lies in its ability to reduce the mental clutter that comes with constant worrying. You're no longer afraid of what might happen. You've already faced it in your mind, and now you're ready to move forward with greater ease and less anxiety. So the next time you find yourself stuck in a spiral of overthinking, try this Stoic technique. Visualize the worst possible outcome, accept it, and then remind yourself that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. You'll find that this shift in perspective can bring you the peace and clarity you've been searching for. Teaching 3. Embrace impermanence. One of the most profound teachings from Stoicism is the idea of impermanence. The understanding that nothing in life is permanent. Everything from our experiences to our emotions is constantly changing. Life is in a state of flux, and nothing stays the same forever. This reality, though often uncomfortable to accept, is actually a source of tremendous peace when we learn to embrace it fully. Embracing impermanence helps us release the fear of loss. We often fall into overthinking because we get attached to specific outcomes or the idea that things should remain the same forever. We obsess over the future, worrying that the good times won't last, or that the challenges we face will never end. The Stoics remind us that nothing stays forever, neither the highs nor the lows. When we accept the temporary nature of all things, we free ourselves from the need to control them. Take a moment to reflect on the things in your life right now. The job, the relationship, the health, the possessions. These are all things that at some point will change or fade. It's a natural part of the human experience. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "Everything is only a momentary appearance, and that appearance is like a river, constantly flowing, always changing." When we remember that nothing is truly permanent, we begin to let go of the anxiety of holding on too tightly. Impermanence also teaches us to live more fully in the present. When we know that our current circumstances are fleeting, we begin to appreciate them more deeply. The good moments, the quiet moments, the challenging moments, all of them have value, precisely because they won't last forever. We learn to savor the time we have, instead of wishing for things to be different, or trying to make them last forever. Think about how often we get stuck in thoughts about the future, or ruminate on past mistakes. We worry about what could go wrong, or we regret what has already happened. But when we focus on the impermanence of life, we realize that both the past and the future are beyond our control. The only moment we truly have is now. This realization pulls us back into the present, helping us to stop overthinking and to just be. The understanding of impermanence also offers us freedom from fear. Fear arises when we believe that something we value, whether it's our job, our relationships, or our health, is permanent and cannot be changed. But when we recognize that everything is transient, we can face the inevitable changes with greater resilience. Whether it's the loss of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or the fear of failure, impermanence teaches us that we are strong enough to handle change. Nothing is as fixed or as certain as our minds often make it out to be. Impermanence also helps us detach from external outcomes. It's easy to become consumed by the desire for things to go exactly as we plan. We strive for success, recognition, and stability. But when we understand that all things are temporary, we begin to shift our focus from external achievements to internal growth. Our sense of peace no longer depends on things going according to our desires. We learn to appreciate the journey rather than fixating on the destination. Success and failure, joy and sorrow, all pass. It's how we respond to them that truly matters. As we embrace impermanence, we also learn to be more compassionate with ourselves. Life is unpredictable, and things don't always go as planned. Instead of beating ourselves up for not controlling every outcome, we can accept the flow of life as it is, allowing ourselves to learn and grow from every experience. The Stoic practice of embracing impermanence frees us from the shackles of regret and the fear of the future, giving us the mental clarity to move forward with purpose and grace. Incorporating the concept of impermanence into our daily lives can significantly reduce overthinking. We stop dwelling on things that will pass, and we start living more fully in the present. Whether it's acknowledging that a difficult situation will eventually resolve itself, or appreciating the moments of joy because they are fleeting, impermanence reminds us that life is a beautiful and transient experience. By embracing the temporary nature of everything, we find peace in the knowledge that change is the only constant. And when we let go of our attachment to permanence, we free ourselves from the fear and anxiety that comes with trying to control the uncontrollable. So, the next time you find yourself overthinking or clinging to an outcome, remember, nothing lasts forever, and that's okay. You can handle whatever comes your way, just as you've handled everything before. Teaching 4, be present. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get lost in the chaos of our thoughts. We often find ourselves dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, completely missing the beauty of the present moment. The Stoics teach us that true peace comes from being fully present, living in accordance with nature, and embracing the current moment with all of our attention. Being present is the key to inner peace. Overthinking usually arises when we are consumed by thoughts of what has already happened or what might happen in the future. These mental distractions pull us away from the only time we truly have, the now. By focusing on the present, we allow ourselves to experience life as it unfolds, without the interference of unnecessary worries or regrets. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most well-known Stoics, emphasized that we should not waste time thinking about the things that lie beyond our control. The past is gone, and the future is unknown. What matters is how we engage with the present moment. When we immerse ourselves in the here and now, we eliminate the constant mental chatter that clouds our minds and contributes to overthinking. Practicing presence helps us to stop chasing after perfection. So often, we become preoccupied with what could go wrong in the future, or how we could have done things differently in the past. We set unrealistic expectations for ourselves, imagining that peace will come when we finally achieve some distant goal. But the Stoics teach us that peace is found in embracing the present, not in the pursuit of an idealized future. By accepting where we are right now, we free ourselves from the burden of constant striving and allow ourselves to experience contentment in the moment. The idea of being present also ties closely to being mindful of our actions. Instead of reacting impulsively to the people and situations around us, we take a step back and respond thoughtfully. The Stoics believe in acting with purpose and intention, and this requires us to be present and aware of what is truly happening, rather than letting our minds wander or be consumed by distractions. Presence also cultivates gratitude. When we focus on the present, we become more attuned to the things we often overlook in our daily lives. We begin to appreciate the simple joys, a good conversation, the warmth of the sun, the taste of our food. These small moments, when fully appreciated, bring us a sense of fulfillment that overthinking can never provide. Gratitude is the natural byproduct of being present, and it's this sense of appreciation that quiets our minds and helps us break free from the cycle of worry. Another powerful aspect of being present is that it enhances our relationships. When we are truly present with others, we listen more deeply, respond more thoughtfully, and connect more authentically. So often, we're distracted by our own thoughts or our need to be somewhere else. But by focusing on the present moment and the people we are with, we strengthen our bonds and create more meaningful connections. This, in turn, brings peace and clarity into our interactions, reducing the mental clutter that contributes to overthinking. Living in the present moment allows us to practice self-acceptance. We are often our harshest critics, ruminating on past mistakes or fearing the unknowns of the future. But when we embrace the present, we accept ourselves as we are, without judgment. The Stoics teach us that it is not the events themselves that trouble us, but our judgments about them. When we let go of the need for perfection and simply accept things as they are, we free ourselves from the tyranny of overthinking. The present moment is a gift. We hear this phrase often, but it carries immense wisdom. When we recognize the present as a precious moment that can never be recaptured, we become more intentional with our time. We stop wasting energy on things that don't matter, and instead, we channel our focus toward the things that bring us joy, fulfillment, and peace. The more we practice being present, the less room there is for the endless loop of overthinking. Ultimately, the Stoic practice of being present is about returning to the essence of who we are, human beings in the world, experiencing life as it comes. It is about letting go of mental distractions and fully immersing ourselves in each moment. By doing so, we create space for clarity, calm, and understanding, allowing us to break free from the grips of overthinking and find the peace that has always been available to us. So the next time your mind starts to wander, remember, everything you need is already here in the present. Take a deep breath, focus on your surroundings, and embrace the now. Teaching 5. Challenge your thoughts. One of the most powerful tools the Stoics offer us is the ability to challenge our thoughts. Overthinking often stems from distorted perceptions, fears, and exaggerated beliefs. These mental patterns can hold us back, creating unnecessary stress and anxiety. The Stoics teach us that our minds are not always accurate mirrors of reality. By learning to challenge and reframe our thoughts, we gain control over our mental landscape, leading to greater peace and clarity. Our thoughts shape our reality. When we face challenges or uncertainties, our minds tend to jump to the worst-case scenarios. We imagine problems that haven't even happened yet, which only feeds our anxiety and prevents us from acting effectively. As Seneca famously said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." The things we fear in our minds rarely come to pass, and even if they do, we often discover that we are more capable of handling them than we initially thought. The Stoics understood that it's not the events that disturb us, but the way we think about them. When we are overwhelmed by negative thoughts or overanalyze a situation, we give power to our fears and insecurities. This is why the Stoic practice of challenging your thoughts is so essential. Instead of simply accepting our first emotional reaction, the Stoics encourage us to pause and question the validity of our beliefs. The key to challenging your thoughts is to become a neutral observer. Imagine stepping outside of yourself and observing your thoughts as if they belong to someone else. Are they based on facts, or are they influenced by your emotions and biases? When you recognize that many of your thoughts are simply automatic reactions, you can begin to detach from them and see them for what they truly are: temporary mental states that do not define you. A powerful way to challenge your thoughts is to ask yourself probing questions. When you experience a wave of worry or anxiety, ask, "What evidence do I have that this thought is true?" Often, when we take a step back and evaluate our thoughts objectively, we realize that our fears are either exaggerated or completely unfounded. This process of questioning helps us to detach from irrational beliefs and gain a clearer perspective on the situation. Reframing your thoughts is another Stoic practice that can break the cycle of overthinking. Reframing involves taking a negative thought and turning it into something constructive or empowering. For example, if you're anxious about a potential failure, you might reframe the situation by reminding yourself that failure is not the end, but an opportunity to learn and grow. The Stoics understood that every challenge we face is an opportunity to practice virtue, courage, wisdom, and resilience. By shifting our perspective, we change our emotional response and regain control over our thoughts. Cognitive reframing also helps to break the grip of anxiety. When you notice your mind spiraling into what-if scenarios, try to replace these thoughts with more grounded, realistic alternatives. If you're worried about an upcoming presentation, instead of imagining the worst possible outcome, focus on how you can prepare to the best of your ability. Remind yourself that no matter what happens, you have the strength to handle it. This shift in mindset helps you approach challenges with confidence and calm, rather than fear. The Stoics also taught us the importance of accepting things as they are, rather than wishing they were different. Many of our overthinking habits come from our desire to control every aspect of our lives. We get caught up in trying to predict and manipulate the future, which only causes unnecessary stress. The Stoics remind us that much of what happens is outside our control. The only thing we can truly control is how we respond to it. By accepting reality as it is, we free ourselves from the need to overthink and create mental peace. Recognizing the impermanence of our thoughts is another key element of challenging them. Just as circumstances change, so too do our mental states. Thoughts are fleeting. They come and go. When we realize that a negative or anxious thought is not permanent, we can let it pass without clinging to it. This awareness allows us to stay centered, even in the midst of uncertainty. We can observe our thoughts, acknowledge them, and then let them go without getting lost in them. Ultimately, challenging your thoughts is a practice of self-empowerment. The Stoics teach us that we are not slaves to our emotions or automatic mental patterns. By actively engaging with our thoughts, questioning their validity, and reframing them when necessary, we take control of our minds and our lives. This process helps us break free from the cycle of overthinking and regain our clarity and peace of mind. In the end, challenging our thoughts isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending that we don't have fears. It's about recognizing that we have the power to choose our response to any given situation. We don't have to be at the mercy of our thoughts. By embracing the Stoic practice of mental discipline, we can live more deliberately, with greater focus and inner peace. Teaching 6. Focus on virtue, not external outcomes. In the fast-paced world we live in today, it's easy to get caught up in external achievements, titles, money, social status, and other markers of success. However, the Stoics teach us a powerful lesson. True fulfillment doesn't come from external outcomes, but from focusing on virtue. This principle lies at the heart of Stoic philosophy and offers a path to lasting peace and inner strength. External outcomes are beyond our control. Whether it's a promotion at work, winning a competition, or achieving a specific financial goal, these are all events influenced by numerous factors outside of our control. The Stoics remind us that we can't always control the results of our actions, no matter how hard we work or how much we plan. What we can control, however, is our character and how we act in any given situation. In fact, according to the Stoics, focusing too much on the end result is a surefire way to set yourself up for disappointment, because you are investing emotional energy in something that may or may not happen. Virtue is the only true good. For the Stoics, virtue is the highest good and the only thing worth striving for. Virtue, in the Stoic sense, encompasses wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. It is about making decisions that align with our highest principles, regardless of the external outcomes. The Stoics understood that no matter how much success or failure we encounter in life, our ability to act with integrity and moral excellence is what truly defines us. It is not the result that matters. It's how we approach the task, the effort we put forth, and the intention behind our actions. Focusing on virtue gives us control. In a world that often feels unpredictable and chaotic, focusing on virtue offers a sense of stability. When we set our sights on cultivating wisdom, courage, and integrity, we shift our focus to something we can control, our character. External outcomes, on the other hand, are fleeting and uncertain. We may experience success one day and failure the next, but our virtue remains constant. This focus on virtue allows us to maintain peace of mind, regardless of what life throws our way. Virtue leads to true happiness. The Stoics believed that happiness doesn't come from material wealth or external achievements, but from living a life of virtue. While external outcomes may bring temporary satisfaction, they cannot provide lasting happiness. True happiness comes from living in alignment with our values, from making choices that reflect our highest principles, and from acting with wisdom and integrity in the face of adversity. This is the kind of happiness that no one can take from us, regardless of circumstances. How do we practice focusing on virtue? The first step is to define what virtue means to you. What does living a virtuous life look like? For some, it may mean prioritizing honesty and fairness in their interactions with others. For others, it might involve developing the courage to speak out against injustice or the wisdom to make thoughtful decisions under pressure. Whatever your definition, the key is to make virtue your guiding compass in life. Next, be mindful of your actions and choices. Each day, we have countless opportunities to practice virtue. Whether we're at work, with family, or out in the world, we face decisions that can either align with our values or stray from them. By paying attention to our actions and making a conscious effort to live virtuously, we create a life that reflects our highest ideals. Detach from the need for recognition. One of the key challenges in focusing on virtue is letting go of the desire for external validation. It's natural to want recognition for our efforts, but the Stoics remind us that seeking validation from others can distract us from our true purpose. When we focus solely on virtue, we do not need external rewards or approval to feel fulfilled. We know that our worth is not determined by others, but by the integrity of our actions. Practice self-reflection. Regularly reflect on your behavior and ask yourself, did my actions today reflect my values? Did I act with wisdom, courage, and integrity? Self-reflection is a powerful tool for growth, as it allows us to identify areas where we can improve and reinforce our commitment to living virtuously. The Stoics believed that self-awareness is essential to living a life of virtue, as it helps us stay aligned with our principles in the face of temptation or adversity. Embrace the journey, not just the outcome. Finally, it's important to embrace the process of growth rather than fixating on the final destination. Focusing on virtue means that we are constantly evolving, learning, and improving. It's not about reaching a specific goal or achieving a particular status. It's about living each moment with purpose and integrity. When we focus on virtue, the journey itself becomes the reward. By shifting our focus from external outcomes to internal virtue, we empower ourselves to live a more meaningful, peaceful life. In a world that often measures success by what we achieve, the Stoics remind us that the true measure of success is found in the quality of our character. When we prioritize virtue over external results, we not only find fulfillment, but also contribute to a more just and harmonious world. This is the path to inner peace, one grounded in the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Conclusion. In a world filled with distractions and pressures, Stoic teachings provide a timeless guide to finding inner peace and clarity. By focusing on what we can control, practicing negative visualization, embracing impermanence, being present, challenging our thoughts, and prioritizing virtue over external outcomes, we can break free from the cycle of overthinking and live more meaningful lives. These teachings are not just philosophical ideas. They are practical tools for navigating the challenges of daily life. The more we incorporate these principles into our thoughts and actions, the more we develop the resilience and tranquility necessary to face adversity with grace. Remember, the Stoic path is not about perfection, it's about progress. Each day offers a new opportunity to align our actions with our values, to grow in wisdom, and to approach life with a mindset that is calm, controlled, and clear. By focusing on internal growth and virtue, we find peace not in the external world, but within ourselves. As you move forward, let these teachings guide you, not just in moments of stress, but in every aspect of your life. Let them remind you that peace isn't found in the absence of challenges, but in the way we respond to them. Embrace the Stoic way and watch how your life transforms from one of overthinking to one of clarity, purpose, and true inner peace.